I used to have the privilege of selling my jewelry at a very busy public market here in Vancouver called the Granville Island Public Market. It was a really rigorous process to get allocated a table in there. And once you earned it, you had to commit to being there through thick and thin, through the busy tourist times that were super lucrative and down to the really slow lagging times of off season, because they wanted to keep the market going all the time and have people there who were interesting. And so in the summer months, when you're there at 9 in the morning and you're there till 7 at night, and the whole time is busloads of tourists being dropped off who are just dying to get to your work, or people who have come straight from the airport on a really early morning flight and just can't wait to get started on their vacation and show up at the market first thing in the morning. And I was, selling lots of jewelry during those times. Those times are wonderful and exciting, and you feel really good about being there. But then there were other times, during the off season, 6 o'clock on a February evening, when there wasn't really a whole heck of a lot going on at the market. But there were a bunch of artists there because that's what we committed to. And there were two sort of types of people, more of one than the other. The one group of people during those off times would complain and bemoan the fact that they had to be there during those times, or talk about days gone by, how much better it used to be in the past, and it used to be like this, and there used to always be busy, and just basically sort of arguing with what was happening. Kind of like they didn't like what was going on. They only wanted the good times. And then there was the other kind of person who could find a way to enjoy the times that were sort of the off times. And there was one in particular artist there. And if you're watching, I know you'll know who I mean when I'm about to tell this story about you, who I learned so much from about how to be in those not ideal times. Because what this guy would do when it was super slow and he hadn't had a single sale all day or maybe even all week, and he'd spent 50 hours in the market, sitting there waiting for people to come in, was he would go and he would find something nice to do for somebody. He would go and he would buy his neighbor a coffee, or he would go and he would offer to buy somebody lunch, or just go and hang out at somebody else's table for a little while and cheer them up if they seemed a little bit down. He kept his energy going. And I watched him do this for 10 years. It wasn't just once or twice. It was a consistent pattern that he had. He was very committed to this. And I noticed with such consistency, what would happen for him would be that he would shift the energy of his day. All of a sudden, out of the blue, some amazing customer would come and want to buy everything on his table. Or maybe not even that big. Somebody would just come and he would have a great big sale that afternoon. And I watched this over and over again, and I started to say, well, what's happening here? And from what I can kind of deduce, what he was doing was creating some momentum in his own energy. And he was finding ways to stay positive. And he was finding ways to be giving more than he was needing to receive. And I think that in nature, those seem to be laws of the species that survive the most fully and who've had the longest evolution and who succeed the most. And so I was thinking about that on my way in today. We all have times in our businesses or our relationships that maybe are not going the way we want them to go, or going a little bit more slowly than we want them to go, or aren't like they used to be in the olden days, or just are not giving us what we want. And I think we can take a lesson from this wonderful artist friend of mine. And in those moments, rather than looking back and reminiscing about the way it used to be, or projecting a future onto the current situation that you wish was happening that just isn't happening right now, instead of that, what we also have available to us is to find a way to be in service to the people around us. There's another option. So I was just thinking about him. I haven't seen him in a long time, and I may send him a little note today and thank him for that lesson for us. But it's definitely something worth considering. How can we be giving more than we're needing to receive?